the International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUF for life. We are IUF.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, EU, Parliament and civil society organizations engage to enhance participatory democracy. Ondando Sea residents fight caterpillars. Baumgart's Brunn Primary School challenged. Afrobarometer conducts telephone survey on COVID-19. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and Weather. Now for the news in detail. As part of the Enhancing Participatory Democracy program in Namibia, the delegation of the European Union to Namibia has pledged 6 million euros over a period of 5 years aimed at strengthening the collaboration and coordination between the Parliament, civil society organizations and other government bodies in the oversight and implementation of public policies and programs. Joseph Ilonga has more.
Civil societies have been instrumental in the policy-making process and development of Namibia. Speaking at the stakeholders' engagement, the head of the EU delegation to Namibia, Sinika Antila, emphasized on the importance of strengthening and capacitating the civil society sector to promote good governance and participatory democracy through policy-making and legislative processes.
The EU believes that the role of civil society is important in any democratic society. Civil society provides alternative perspectives, enriching the debate, and civil society points the finger at deficiencies. Sometimes civil society even fills gaps left by the public institutions in important service delivery to citizens. We do not consider civil society organizations as mere service providers. Quite contrary, we want civil society to participate in policy making and legislative processes. Civil society should also be a watchdog, closely monitoring the proper implementation of existing laws and regulations. Civil society organizations must be able to do that through direct participation and not only a voice on the backstage. The European Union wants to encourage a mindset which helps civil society and governments to see each other as complementary partners here in Namibia and everywhere in the world.
Peter Kachevivi, the Speaker of the National Assembly, emphasized on the importance of access to information on bills tabled and debated in Parliament, adding that more efforts should be made to decentralize the work of Parliament to promote inclusivity, transparency and accountability.
We need to take the work of Parliament closer to the people. We have a theme that is well known, taking Parliament to the people. And how do we do that if we don't have the appropriate platform? We don't have institutions that are equipped and knowledgeable to work in partnership with Parliament to achieve that important objective. We need to take the work of Parliament to the people in order for the public to have easy access to information, easy access to bills that are being tabled, and to ensure that the debate that is taking place in Parliament is well informed and it is crafted on the basis of correct information that our people are able to offer. Parliamentary standing committees cannot function without access to information. without interacting with citizens out there in various parts of our country. That is absolutely necessary.
Besides the EU and the Parliament, other key stakeholders involved in the Enhancing Participatory Democracy in Namibia program are the National Planning Commission, line ministries in the education, skills and rural development sectors, civil society organizations and grant recipient organizations.
Namibia is bleeding. Women and children no longer feel safe in the land of their birth. This is not due to war, but due to gender-based violence perpetrated by mostly men. This call is to our fathers, brothers and sons to unite against gender-based violence. Let us come together and say a big no to gender-based violence. Together, we can build a safer and better society for all. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
The residents of the Ondando Sea village in the Oshikoto region near Onipa is calling on the Environment and Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta to intervene and stop the illegal sand mining in the area. Residents claim that a sand mining license was issued to the Ondonga Traditional Authority to mine sand at their village. Leston Voller has this report.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
In communication between the affected community and the Onipa Town Council, the council stated that they were not consulted nor did they give permission for this activity to take place. The council, in an email response dated 5th May 2021, also stated that they have not received an environmental impact assessment from the owner.
Who are the people who are for or against that project? As you can see now, our environment has been destroyed. As you can see, if you go to the site, these people are already digging even outside the license that they have been given to. The map is very clear on the environmental impact assessment, on the environmental management plan they have submitted, or where they're supposed to dig, but now they are digging outside. As we speak now, there is water even in the pit where they are digging, which is against the law. Number one, they are digging in the Mahangu field. That's not supposed to be. Number two, they are making a gravel road. In the local authority, no permission from Onipa Town Council. Two, they have no permission from anywhere, whether the ministry or road authority, where to make that gravel road. And that gravel road has stopped even the waterways that some of the field, if it rains, the water will go into the field. All these are problems to the community.
Kamati added that the construction company is digging outside the initial area they were supposed to operate in and are driving over railway lines with their Caterpillar vehicles. Kamati said that the construction company is going as far as rearranging the affected community's fences to increase the range of digging.
It's sending a wrong precedent because it means that the people with money, because we know that the people who are doing this are those who think that they have money and they are above the law, and they can push and squeeze the community because they know the community, we don't have the money. That's why they are already saying that they will use their lawyers. But they are destroying our environment. We are talking about sustainable use of land. What are you going to do with that pit in the middle of the forest? You can't, and in any way, there are no any more space for grazing. You can't say it will fill water and animal will drink there. In the middle of the forest, how do you define sustainable use of land? What will they do with that pit? Number two, they have already reached underground water. And you are seeing the photo we have provided to you, underground water. What is the minister waiting for? These people have violated already even the condition attached on their license. They do not have permission from Trans-Namib, and they are using heavy-duty trucks, flatbed, to cross the rail. They don't have permission from Trans-Namib.
According to Kamati, the construction company must go back from where they came from and do sand mining in their own areas.
Why would you come and destroy our environment to sell somewhere else? Let them dig where they are coming from. They are doing that because Onipa is very close to Ondangwa, to the main access, and these people do not want to spend any cost to go and dig somewhere they will not disturb the environment. So we are pleading, the minister, please hear us, let the law prevail. We are not rascals. We are not rascals. We just want the due process of the law to be followed. If they have any dubious deal behind, we are asking the law to be followed, and we as a community must be heard. This license must be cancelled because it was given without our consent.
Today on One contacted the Ministry of Environment and Tourism's Public Relations Officer, Romeo Muyunda, who is going through the information and will provide a response in due course.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Located 23 kilometers outside of Windhoek with 9 teachers and accommodating up to 220 learners from mostly less privileged backgrounds, the Baumgartsbrunn Primary School has been operating with difficulties such as, amongst others, delayed teaching due to a lack of transportation for learners to school. Selma Tapopi has more.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The government boarding school mostly accommodates children from less privileged backgrounds, with its newest learner being Inamadala Mbaduko, who together with her father featured recently on Today on One. Mbaduko lived alone with her 48-year-old father, who lost his eyesight and is now receiving medical attention. Note to Gender-Based Death and Violence Initiator, however, notes that the needs of the school should be looked at as it's hampering the teaching and learning process.
Concerning the father of our little girl, he's been undergoing medical attention, and this morning he was dropped off at the clinic or the hospital for further attention. So hopefully we hope for the best. And I'm very grateful to God that his daughter is in school today. I'd like to thank the people, those from the GBV platform who came together to assist her with the necessary things that she needs for school. I'd like to thank those from the Ministry of Education and the social worker from the Ministry of Gender who made this possible, who made her dream possible to be in school today. And I came to the school here because of her, only to find the situation in the school. And that's why I deemed it fit to bring the plight of the situation to the public, so we can see how they can be assisted. Because these learners need to be assisted. If we are saying education is compulsory for children, what are we doing to make their education journey a smooth and safe one? Because if these learners are not comfortable, there's no way they'll concentrate. So I'm pleading again with corporate bodies and individuals to come to the aid of this school. If teachers from the salary they earn are given back to the learners to assist, what would they have left? What is our responsibilities as individuals, as corporate bodies, towards ensuring that these learners have the best to save the nation as well?
The school, which offers grades 1 to 7, is currently operating without transportation for the learners, with some of them not having the appropriate uniform and stationery for lessons. The school's acting principal notes that although the school does receive a basic education grant from the government, most of it goes to assisting learners with daily necessities.
As we are here, we give opportunity to most of the less privileged learners, the marginalized ones that are coming from Achterland, Kurianga, all these informal settlements. And yes, most of them, the parents are unemployed. Those kids love to be at school. And then most of the thing is where they are staying, it's now hunger. They don't get food on time on the table. Coming back here, it's like coming home. Going back for the weekends, even holiday, it's very difficult for them because they know what they are going to survive. Of this, we are encouraging them. Let it be the driving force behind us for you to appreciate and then learn and then appreciate education and to learn in order to become something in the future. So we really give them also moral support emotionally. That's what they need. We sit and talk to them. They have challenges with school uniform. They don't have proper shoes or jerseys for that matter. The toiletries are a challenge. And then as we are in the COVID-19 situation now, pandemic, which is the new normal at the school, we have the mask problem. It's learners, obviously, and they will get lost here and there. We educate, we sing the song to take care of the stuff, but they are losing the mask, and then it's depleting the funds of the school. The challenges that we are facing here is the school is basically without transport. The kids coming from to the school, we face the challenge of it takes time before we start actually with the actual work in teaching. So it will normally take 2 weeks or whatever for them because they are suffering just to get transport from window to here. Most of them don't work, they don't have fees, so they don't afford to pay. There is no affordability to pay transport or to arrange transport to bring the kids. Yes, we do have 3 or 2% of parents which is really supporting the learners, and despite they're not working, they are supportive. There are backgrounds whereby it's totally like, it is very worse, but then we accommodate all the learners.
The school's hostel is also challenged with the lack of mattresses and doors for some of the rooms. Corporates and members of the public who would like to assist the school may contact its acting principal or Master Itodo on the numbers below.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
The first ever Afrobarometer telephone survey in Namibia was conducted between December last year and February 2021, following the Namibia Afrobarometer 2019 face-to-face survey. The survey was aimed at collecting Namibian citizens' opinions about public attitudes, behavior and views towards the coronavirus pandemic in the language of their choice. Hendrina Kanyolo has more.
The Afrobarometer telephone survey is the first survey using telephone rather than face-to-face interviews due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The survey mostly focused on experiences, evaluations and attitudes of Namibian citizens related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Christian Kilder, the managing director at Survey Warehouse, shared the findings of the survey.
When we started doing Afrobarometer survey, Namibia had a predominantly rural population. After independence, the first census, Namibia had a 28% urban population. It is now 58%. So we completely switched from a rural population to an urban population. And as I said, that I think has had profound political consequences. Unfortunately, we won't be talking about those. But and then at the same time, if you look at the age profile, it is a younger sample, as we said, because of the fact that it makes use of mobile technology. Then informed about COVID, 69% of people said they were very well informed and 24% said well informed. So in terms of the information, I think there was adequate amounts of information. One of the elements, of course, that everybody is concerned about is the economic consequences of COVID. And in surveys that we've done over the last year, the number of businesses that have closed, the number of people that have been retrenched, the number of people that has been subjected to wage cuts were quite significant. Afrobarometer uses a Lift Poverty Index, which is based on a number of questions asking people how frequently they had to do without specific essential elements of daily life. And what we see is that more than 6 in 10 Namibians had to go without enough food to eat and without a cash income at least once during this pandemic. So those are the two areas that the pandemic has had the biggest consequences: food security and cash income.
The survey further revealed that 9 out of 10 Namibians are worried that their family members may get infected with COVID-19, and 86% are concerned that the pandemic will have a negative impact on the Namibian economy.
COVID-19 resources lost to government corruption, and you can see 6% said a lot of it, 34% said some, so around 40%, 4 in 10, said either a lot or some, and then 44% said a little. Trust official COVID-19 statistics, over 50% said they either trusted not at all or just a little bit. So how we recode trust is not at all we regard as cynics, a little bit or somewhat we regard as skeptics, and a lot we regard as trusters. So you can see only 1 in 5 Namibians, when it comes to COVID statistics, is actually a truster. Trust government to ensure that the vaccines are safe. Here too, 1 in 4 Namibians said not at all, and only 9% are trusters. Despite the fact that we know that it's serious, we still don't have faith in the vaccines. So the likelihood of vaccines is just about 50%. I think the number everybody is talking about for achieving herd immunity is plus 60%.
Kilder further said that although many Namibians are worried to get infected with COVID-19 and regard the pandemic very serious, most are skeptical of official COVID-19 statistics, with almost 2/3 believing that prayer is more effective than getting vaccinated.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. We continue with our coverage of business in the tourism sector, and this time we visited an accommodation facility run by a state-owned parastatal that achieved a milestone in 2020 when it recorded a profit for the first time of over $20 million. The current global crisis left them with no alternative but to depend on locals. The Namibia Wildlife Resort has many accommodation facilities for travelers around the country, including the Sesrim campsite and restaurant in the Namib No-Cliff Park. The government is now allowing foreign travelers to enter the country with a negative COVID PCR result not older than 7 days. But the staff at the Sesrim camp say the number of locals arriving in the area is greater than ever before.
The first time that I ever seen my restaurant being full with the locals was the Easter weekend. It was amazing, and it's more comfortable to serve them and give them the service as locals. So it's an amazing thing. We advertise as much as we can, and we bring our camps and do our facilities and to the locals, and then we sell the packages to them. And yeah, we get to. I think in the long run we should have a permanent, ongoing program whereby we invite the locals to work more with them and to educate them about our facility that we have and the things that we offer. So instead of just not to focus on the international market, I think it was a good thing, and it teach us how to work with the locals as well. And actually the locals are coming by. They are coming especially during the weekends.
I've been here for long, let me say 10 years in Sesrim, since I was a small kid, and things around in Sesrim, it's fine. We don't have a problem with anything here, but yeah, we do enjoy where we are. Yeah, we all wish for things to get back to normal, because for now it's quiet, and most of us, we are not working, like some of the people were drenched and all those things because of that. So yeah, it really did affect tourism a lot. Yeah, so if more guests come, it will be amazing.
The manager at the camp says the spike in Namibians turning up came after restriction measures were eased and locals are taking the opportunity to explore their own country rather than traveling elsewhere. She also said that they have since introduced packages that are more affordable.
They are keen, and we are ready to receive more clients, although nowadays, because they start now coming up. Yeah, the challenge here is now that so as the COVID started, so some staff they left, and when they left, so now we have a few staff. So now Namibians, we invited them, or we initiated to give that discount. Namibians to travel and know their country. So they did show up, but what they are experiencing again is not how we are. Hence that we have few staff now, so our services are not that up standard or the way it used to be. So you used either to hear that there's no services NWR. Now what you are experiencing is more worse. So, but it's because of COVID. You employ more staff, then you don't get a client again. It will be a problem. So I hope that the Norwegians, they will be with us, and what they are experiencing will just their nature.
The Sesrim camp is the gateway to Sossusvlei, where popular attraction sites such as the Sesrim Grand Canyon, the Sand Dunes and Deadvlei are located. As the industry continues to recover, the sign of more Namibians visiting local sites could mean a boost for the sector. That's all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
Win free airtime with #LearnOnOne. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback Name and town to 081 200 6659. Hashtag Learn on One. Invite learning in.
In other leading stories, the Wages Commission investigating all relevant industries and thereafter present a report and make recommendations to the Honourable Minister of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation on a proposed national minimum wage has thus far conducted public hearings with particular focus on its terms of reference in Windhoek in the Commerce region, Ausenkeer and Keetmanshoop in the Gladys region and Gobabis in the Omaheke region. The purpose of the public hearings is to afford individuals, trade unions, employers and employees' organizations the opportunity to present oral and written representations concerning a proposed national minimum wage for Namibia and related supplementary minimum conditions of employment as required in the terms of reference of the Commission. During the last public hearing held at Gobabis, individuals and representations of trade unions highlighted the challenges faced by workers in emerging industries in the agricultural sector, such as charcoal, non-compliance with existing wage agreements, and the difficulty in balancing the setting of a minimum wage in the context of high unemployment rates and low economic growth. The Commission continued to urge individuals, trade unions, and especially employers and employees' organizations to give their maximum support to the work of the Commission, both by making oral and written representations. A proposed national minimum wage intends to improve the paid levels of especially low-paid employees, improve individual and household incomes, contribute to poverty alleviation and to a decent standard of living. And the German Embassy Windhoek has provided funding to the value of about 40,000 Namibia dollars to the German Evangelical Lutheran Church in Namibia for the repair of the historic church organ. Alan Gold's deputy head of mission of the German Embassy in Windhoek signed the official contract with Horst Heiser, head of the parish council, recently in Swakopmund. The historic church organ was built by the organ building company Valke in Ludwigsburg in 1911 and installed by the company Richard Möller from Cape Town in 1912. Both the church building and the organ fall under monument protection. The organ is used regularly for events such as religious services, weddings, funerals and concerts. Normally, the maintenance of the organ and the church building is funded through donations and income from community events. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the church community was not able to raise funds in 2020.
Hello Namibia, we are in this fight against COVID-19 together. Ons is saam. I chose to get the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it was available because as a nurse, the lives of my patients, family and the community are so important to me. Taking the vaccine gives us a stronger chance to beat COVID-19 together.
Learn more about the vaccine. Make an informed decision. Choose to vaccinate. Protect tomorrow.
Win free airtime with hashtag Learn on One. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. Hashtag Learn on One. Invite learning in.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. The Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, together with the Namibian Police Force, Inspector General Sebastian De Tunga, paid a visit to the close to 3,000 Angolan immigrants who migrated to Namibia due to the drought situation in that country. Simeon says they are our brothers and sisters and should be treated well. Lazarus wants to hear the Angolan government's position on the matter. Wilka wants to know if they can't be taken to the Osire refugee camp, while William suggests that the Red Cross and UNHCR intervene. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on 1.
Hello Namibia, we are in this fight against COVID-19 together. Ons is saam. I chose to get the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it was available because as a nurse, the lives of my patients, family and the community are so important to me. Taking the vaccine gives us a stronger chance to beat COVID-19 together.
Learn more about the vaccine. Make an informed decision. Choose to vaccinate. Protect tomorrow.
Time now for today's sports update with Chairo Musiandaka.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Chairo Musiandaka. Established in 1983, Commersdal-based outfit Civics Football Club signed a mega partnership deal of $500,000 Namibian with Premier Sports Trading. The money will be used for the club's administration, team gear, the players and technical staff's salary for the 2020-2021 season with an option to renew. Castro Lumbu has more on this story.
In his remarks, Managing Director at Premier Sports Trading pointed out the importance of administration in an organization, stating that with the right governance, Civics Football Club will produce quality results as well as secure an extension with Premier Sports Trading.
We know that there are many golden opportunities within Namibia soccer if we get our mindset right and be bold in our approach. Civics Football Club displayed type of board we're looking for in a team. They knocked very hard on our doors and presented us with a very impressive proposal, which we were found mutually beneficial for both parties. After various discussions between ourselves and Mr. Isat, Premier Sport Trading have agreed to sponsor Civics Football Club with an amount of 550,000 Namibian dollar for the current football season with an option for renewal. We are aware that many Namibian clubs face the same struggle, which is that of sponsorship to cover the basic operational service expenses, such as training, player salary, and travel expenses. We are positive that this sponsorship will assist Civics Football Club to become more effective and efficient and ultimately play better football and hopefully win the league season that is currently underway. Besides, they have done very well so far. We want to re-emphasize the importance of teamwork, professionalism and good governance, because that is the kind of values that will earn you an extension of this contract.
Currently playing under the newly established highest division in Namibian football, the Namibia Premier Football League, and part of the founding members, Mighty Civilians Chairman Donnelly Nell expressed gratitude towards Premier Sports Trading for partnering with them as he assured positive results and a fruitful relationship during this partnership period.
As for our dedicated sponsor, rest assured of our obligations in terms of the sponsorship agreement. This agreement is without a doubt mutual. We'll bring our part and we trust likewise from Premier Sports Trading. Forging ties with Premier Sports Trading and its reputation to deliver the best results will be a great incentive for Civics Football Club. The financial injection from our sponsor cover the bulk of the staff cost for players and technical team, including operational costs, and we are grateful for this generosity. In conclusion, allow me to remind Civics FC management, technical teams, players and supporters, finding a dedicated sponsor such as Premier Sports Trading is no mean task, and this means we should never take the sponsorship for granted. Therefore, I wish to express my profound appreciation and gratitude to Premiership Sports Trading for your commitment and support and to uplift the betterment of Civics Football Club.
Also invited to the event was Emma Kantema Gaumas, the Deputy Minister of Sports, Youth and National Service, who in a statement advised the management of PST Bet Civics FC to be transparent with their new partners on board in order for them to protect the Civics brand.
That's all we have time for you. Join us again tomorrow on Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Isai.
Thanks, Charo, for that update. Time now for the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. East wind conditions will prevail for the rest of the week over the coastal areas, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior cold at first in the interior, otherwise sunny and mild to warm. A fresh to strong easterly wind is expected in the interior. The coast sunny and warm to hot, and the wind fresh to strong easterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
And that brought us to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. Join us again next time, and don't forget to watch the repeat at 9:30 this evening and the Omnibus on Saturdays. From me, Isai Sipunga, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them, and it must be respected. You are not feeding the rhinos, you are not giving them water, so it's a free business. married is a female.
Oh, I don't know. Cut it off.
I take two of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old. They were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future.
My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palamba. So I decided to go for tour guide studies, because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest changes, I was employed, getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Treverfontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities, and wildlife is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time.
We are right here now at Palambach, and Palambach is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife. And having wildlife in your area is like having a garden.
Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife, and it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit.
So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do.
If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job.
We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit. over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, Save the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poaching. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now it's all changed to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for the rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2 Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bars was made, and I think it was 31st of January that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I pick up my phone and I phoned Mark Doe. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but when we've got the fund already ready for you, you just have to apply, put a proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed. And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds to pay salaries to help people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs. And we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO. And IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, Integrated Rural Development and Nature Conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities and various aspects of their war on poaching.
To be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2 Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's walking on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Etindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side, we've got the serial number, you've got the Rand Refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world, people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution. And at Ballowwood, we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight. It's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcases really what the project is all about.
It's from 24-karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward. And who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have, it's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, we could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely, something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.
Hier vir sy tutoring.
Ja, so song, city, Fayamilo.
Maar dis tyd dat ek vrede maak met Patricia.
Wat? Tos is land uit. Ek gaan nie eens probeer my verskoning uit te dink nie. Wanneer I'm fine. Goed man, nigga. Showdown in Oppie Coffee tomorrow.
Shop right. Shop right. Shop.